Yeah, basically guys, welcome to our new idea. We're going to be test driving some vehicles on a regular basis and maybe give you guys some feedback. First of all, on our products, and I think maybe once in a week or 2 weeks we'll still figure this out, the schedule. We'll start talking about other stuff. We'll review some Hi-Luxes, Rangers, modified trucks, standard trucks. We'll do all kinds of stuff. So I think this should be quite an interesting series to follow. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep an eye out for any new videos. It'll be very interesting. Today what we're going to do is review this truck that we're driving. It's a 2007 model Ram 2500 with a Cummins 5.9 Cummins diesel. And we're going for a little drive through town, skipping the red robots.
Stop twice next time.
Yep. So we'll talk as we go and just talk about the truck and what you can do and can't do and what we think is nice about the vehicles. So even for the age of this truck, it's got some nice features. I think back in the day when we sold these were state of the art. I mean, it had absolutely everything in it for the day. It had electric seats, up and down and forward and back, and electric windows all around, including the sliding window at the back, sunroof, aircon, speedo cruise. So it was fully loaded, and I think even in today's standards, this is still quite a nice truck. It's got reverse camera. But, I think so. Specs wise, standard 242 kilowatts, and I think 827 Newton meters was standard spec on these trucks. Most of the owners, as they bought at some stage, modified the cars. Sorry about that. And yeah, they ended up putting tuners in, like either the Smarty or back in the day the Bully Dog was very popular.
Crazy Larry.
With the Crazy Larry tune on it, which you had to sign an indemnity for, by the way. So yeah, the tuner is a plug and play unit, and you can actually change the power output on the car while you're driving. A very interesting concept and very popular in the States. And most of the trucks also got the upgrades for bigger intercoolers, probably better intakes, higher flow intake, and K&N filters just to get the truck to breathe better.
110 exhaust systems.
Yeah, big 6-inch and 5-inch exhaust systems. So yeah, it's those are the upgrades that makes the car breathe better, and believe it or not, better on fuel. So talking about fuel economy, I think we get about 5 to 6 k's to a litre on this when it's really working hard, and in the cruise you probably get about 7 k's to a litre. I think it's
I got down to 12.1 the other day.
So that's 8.
Which is about 8. So
yeah, that's pretty good. But that's also trying really hard.
8.2.
Yeah, it's
so
pretty good.
95.
Yeah. So average 120 cruise, I would say 6 k's to a litre, very realistic. Yeah. And that can be done with quite a heavy load. I think if you're towing a 4-ton boat or a 5-ton boat, it'd be fine. Legally, this can tow 5.9 tons, 6.9 if you don't load anything in the car, I believe. But you have to have a brake trailer. As soon as it's over 3.5 tons on the trailer, you have to have brakes on the trailer. But 5.9 tow capacity, more than enough for the average ski boat or whatever trailer you can.
Well, the newer ones come with exhaust brake on the truck. Yes,
6.7 version now. The latest ones, actually since 2007. The later model in this, it came out with the 6.7 version of the Cummins with the exhaust brake system. So very nice truck. So I think it's warming up. Temperature is still fairly low, so we don't really want to push the truck yet. But a very comfortable ride, I must confess. Like I said, this is still the oldest spec, 2007, and the suspension has changed considerably in 2013. Much longer arms in the front that holds the diff in place, so it was a much smoother ride. You don't feel the bumps as much in the newer trucks, but even in this was a very comfortable ride. I think also because of the wheelbase. So the truck's very long, 6.4 meters long total.
MEGACAB.
Yeah, our camera crew in the back has got plenty space. Okay, so a little bit of open road driving. Will give you an idea of why the truck is so light on fuel with its comparative size. It's such a big engine and quite a lot of torque. So once the overdrive kicks in, because it's got no overdrive in the gearbox, the RPM will come right down. As you can see, it's 100 k's an hour and we're at 1,600 RPM. So, and at that stage it makes all its power. In stock standard format, that'll be 827 Newton meters of torque at 1,600. So more than enough to accelerate quite a lot. We're at 120 now and we're just under 2,000 RPM. So these engines are at its happiest, I think, at about 1,800 RPM, 1,900, and very fuel economy, you know, economical. I think it's ideal at that RPM. So a nice cruising speed, long distance. I'm always a big advocate of getting the engine at operating temperature before any wide open throttle runs and crazy stuff. I think that was drilled into me by my dad, and you have to be sympathetic, have mechanical sympathy, and it'll last much longer. The oil is thinned out and it's all lubricated properly, then you can add some power to it. And this was the plug and play unit we were talking about. So it shows a couple of settings there. We're on number 3 at the moment, which is street setting. But yeah, the top setting says race, so that says it all. I think that's the one.
Dog, it says Crazy Larry.
Yeah,
Sign indemnity.
That's the one you normally don't want to use too much. The unit is actually called a Race Me, and plug and play. Basically, plug it into the truck. There's a bit of programming that needs to be done. It takes about an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. And it remaps the vehicle, and then that's adjustable because you can actually select the mapping then from here. So by selecting a different number there, you'll get a different tune. So number 1 will be stock, number 2 will be tow, where you actually get the most torque at your RPM that you'll tow at most, and then number 3, which will be street, is like a more drivable tune. 4, which is performance, it makes considerable difference, and then the race one, number 5, which you don't want to use every day because things will not last. Even though it's available and it's plug and play and whatever, something's going to break, whether it's the transmission or the engine. At some stage you're going to break something. It normally overheats if you do long runs because your exhaust gas temperatures go up, everything's hotter.
Yeah.
You want to avoid that. But the size of the car also surprises everybody. I think nobody ever thinks that it's this powerful.
Yeah.
I also believe in the diesels. I don't know, maybe it's a personal thing, but a diesel truck like that doesn't want to rev. RPM and heat obviously is the enemy, so they don't want to rev up. They make all the power, like I say, from 1,600 RPM. So if you can get your transmission to shift over, you don't need it to rev up to 3,500 or whatever to make a lot of power. So ideally you don't want to rev it, rather get it to change the gear and then accelerate.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised at how strong it pulls. Although that's not good for the transmission because then you put all the load on the transmission.
Correct.
It's what normally destroys the transmission, but they just don't do well with RPM.
Big all-terrain tires, so it'll break rubber first, eh?
Yeah, it should break traction before it breaks the transmission, but the problem normally is once the guys start racing a Mustang or a M3 or something, then they get a lot of wheel spin, and the next thing is the truck is in 4-wheel drive, and a week later it's in the workshop because then there's too much grip and something goes. So
not that we're complaining, it's good for business.
The overdrive, how it drops the RPM, came all the way down from 2,400 to about 1,600, and then the acceleration is phenomenal. I mean, I'm not flooring it, it's about half throttle, going. I love the cruise in this. It's such a comfortable car.
Yeah.
So I think we need to do an acceleration run. If we could get this stretch of road permanently, it would be nice to to do this in. So that's under street. Select performance. What's a smile on your face?
Yeah, you can feel it underneath you.
You see the little bit of a black smoke there at the back. It definitely makes a difference.
It does. And then once you put on race, it's like, you know, when they ask that lady, do you smoke? She says yes, and then you close it.
So
I'm maybe exaggerating on the camera movement. That's me fighting to stay forward. I am putting the seat down.
Watch.
Oh, it's exceptional torque. You're worried you break something, you know, so I don't want to just floor it. I can feel the transmission actually slipping a little bit because your RPM is fairly low and you're putting a lot of load on the transmission now. So like I said, I don't want the revs to come up because then everything heats up as well. But it's so torquey. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, let's see if we can get a gap to pass this guy. Now he pulls over.
We say bye-bye.
He thought he was going to go.
It's amazing. Absolute effortless power, and we just discussed it. It's actually something that it's hard to try and tell somebody how it feels, but it's a seat of the pants feel that you've got to experience to really believe it. It's a little bit of an uphill now. Okay, Owens, that's the Cummins 5.9 that we have spoken about a little bit today. It's definitely an interesting truck. So for the guys that have never driven something like this, I think if you watch our videos you'll start getting a feel for it. But like I said in the video, I think it's hard to explain what it's like unless you actually drive it. I think Chris will confirm that. You know, it's a seat of the pants feel that you've got to experience to really believe it.
For the size of it, it's a drift truck. No doubt about it.
That's it.
It'll go sideways within 3 seconds.
So yes, a couple of facts again. 260 kilowatts, 242 kilowatts actually, and 827 Newton meters. Stock. This one's got the plug and play computer on it. Probably, I'd say about 280 kilowatts, maybe 300 on the race setting, and around about 1,500 Newton meters once you've got it up to the race setting too. So quite a lot of power on tap. So yeah, some fun facts about the truck. It's the MEGACAB version. Like I said, reclining seats in the back, a lot of space. 6.4 meters long, so quite a big truck. Makes it drive nicely because of the long wheelbase. So a nice feature on the trucks is the tow mirror. Let me show you how that works. This is the standard way that it fits on the truck, and then you can fold it out much wider and much higher, so you get a better view on a trailer. So if you've got a wide boat, that certainly helps. So the reclining seat function, it's also very comfortable in the truck. A lot of leg space, and this is when it's reclined, and you can also lift it up then into that position. So very nice. Once folded down, got to get the cooler out from underneath. Quite a lot of space. That's the folded down version of the seats. A lot of storage space behind the seat. A lot of hidden gems. Hiding spots. MEGACAB. So thanks for joining us on episode 1 of Bakkie KAK Praat. Ram MEGACAB 5.9 Cummins.